Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for our December the 2nd lesson in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. We're reading out of the original edition, lesson 336. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. You know, to a lot of us, the idea that the minds are joined is kind of almost like an invasion of privacy. And in truth, there is nothing secret or hidden. Only in the world of illusions is that the case. And I'm not suggesting that you need to embrace openness to the degree that you feel uncomfortable, but ultimately you're going to realize that minds are joined, and that whatever you think, of course, the only thing that you're going to think in the connection where minds are joined is the truth about yourself. That's where we're really joined. And let's read the lesson. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Forgiveness is the means appointed for perception's ending. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. For sights and sounds at best can serve but to recall the memory that lies beyond them all. Forgiveness sweeps away distortions and opens the hidden altar to the truth. Its lilies shine into the mind and call it to return and look within, to find what it has vainly sought without. For here and only here is peace of mind restored, for this the dwelling place of God Himself. And the prayer says, in quiet may forgiveness wipe away my dreams of separation and of sin. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Your word remains unchanged within my mind. Your love is still abiding in my heart. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. All right, we're ready to start chapter 10 in our text reading today. And we'll start right there on the introduction. While you're turning there, let me tell you a moment about some radishes I found at the market yesterday. These are red meat, Chinese red meat radishes. Get pretty good size. And their Chinese name is, I think it's pronounced Mi is the first word, M-E-I, and then X-I-N, probably Zen, Mi Zen. And I've told you about them already, but since I found some at market yesterday, I thought, well, let's just talk about them. Let me look what it says. Let me read it again. The colorful beauty heart radish of historic China, also known as the beauty heart, has a 4-inch round root with white and green skins. You know, that's definitely a white and greenish colored skin. And it says that, but the magic is in the rose red center, which is sweet, crisp, and delicious. A good radish to add color to salads and stir fries must be grown in cool weather and does best when fall planted. These taste incredible when harvested in the late fall or early winter, sweet and flavorful, almost like a crisp fruit, sometimes called watermelon radish at market. Now that's what they were called. That's what got my attention. Among the most important vegetables in our kitchen each winter. It is a root that most kids love and packs an extra load of antioxidants in its sweet red flesh. Wow, so maybe it's pretty sweet. Well, listen, let's just cut one open so that you can see the inside. So let's just look at that, would you? Isn't that something? A little bit, definitely a a red, you can see why they call it a watermelon radish, don't you? And let's just take a little slice here, and I'll give you, wow. It has that radish flavor, but real mild, and a sweet one. So there's something that you all may want to consider growing. Watermelon radish. And we will go ahead and stop there. I was going to read, well, let me tell you, there's one other radish that I really wanted to talk about, but you know, why not? Let's just go there. Let's stop there. And let's go take a look in our text reading, God and the Ego. Got to get this thing chewed up first. Very sweet though, and it doesn't have that real strong radish bite. So I can see why kids would like it. God and the Ego. Introduction. Either God or the ego is insane. If you will examine the evidence on both sides fairly, you will realize this must be true. Neither God nor the ego proposes a partial thought system. Each is internally consistent, but they are diametrically opposed in all respects, so that partial allegiance is impossible. Remember, too, that their results are as different as their foundations, and their fundamentally irreconcilable natures cannot be reconciled by your vacillations. Nothing alive is fatherless, for life is creation. Therefore, your decision is always an answer to the question, who is my father? And you will be faithful to the father you choose. Okay, so who is your creator? What is your source? These are all the same question. Who is your father? Who made you? So he's saying that the foundational premise of either God's system or the ego system is who is your father? Yet, what would you say to someone who really believed this question involves conflict? If you made the ego, how can the ego have made you? The authority problem remains the only source of perceived conflict, because the ego was made out of the wish of God's Son to father him, to father God, to father his, in other words, the authority problem. Who's your authority? Who's your creator? Who's the one who made you and instilled with you the principles to live by? And when you want to do it on your own and you feel separate and you have to use attack and defense to protect yourself, which is what the world's built around, then you've declared that the ego is your father, which sounds insane. If you say, in my defenselessness, my safety lies, love is connecting and all-powerful, and it's the only reality, the only thing that's really occurring, even against appearances, then you're establishing that the truth about who you really are. So the authority problem remains the only source of perceived conflict, because the ego was made out of the wish of God's Son to father him. The ego, then, is nothing more than a delusional system in which you made your own father. Make no mistake about this. It sounds insane when it is stated with perfect honesty, but the ego never looks upon what it does with perfect honesty. Yet that is its insane premise, which is carefully hidden in the dark cornerstones, or the dark cornerstone of its thought system. And either the ego which you made is your father, or its whole thought system will not stand. Wow, so what's your source? If your source is separation, and that you have to protect that source, or protect yourself by using attack and defense, then what's he say then? The ego which you made is your father, or its whole thought system will not stand. Yet that is its insane premise. What is its insane premise? It sounds insane when it is stated with perfect honesty, but the ego never looks upon what it does with perfect honesty. Yet that is its insane premise, which is carefully hidden in the dark cornerstone of its thought system. And either the ego which you made as your father or its whole thought system will not stand. Now let's go ahead and go on projection versus extension. You have made by projection, but God has created by extension. He uses the word made in the Course in Miracles to something that is not created. Something that is made is in the realm of perception, is the way I think that he would like me to explain it. You have made by projection, but God has created by extension, or by extending himself and making everything like him. And that's your true identity. The cornerstone of God's creation is you, for his thought system is light. Remember the rays that are there unseen. The more you approach the center of his thought system, the clearer the light becomes. The closer you come to the foundation of the ego's thought system, the darker and more obscure becomes the way. Yet even the little spark in your mind is enough to lighten it. Bring this light, let me change page here. Bring this light fearlessly with you and hold it up to the foundation of the ego's thought system bravely. Even may not, the more you get into the ego system, the more dark and the more hard it is to find your way. But he says even the little spark will be enough light to light the way and to bring it with you bravely. Be willing to judge it with perfect honesty. Open the dark cornerstone of terror on which it rests and bring it out into the light. There you will see that it rests on meaninglessness, and that everything of which you have been afraid was based on nothing. We just so need to learn that. And I've got this renewed desire, or maybe not desire, but realization that I need to learn these things. Paragraph 4. My brother, you are part of God and part of me. When you have at last looked at the ego's foundation without shrinking, you will also have looked upon ours. I come to you from our Father to offer you everything again. Do not refuse it in order to keep the dark cornerstone hidden, for its protection will not save you. I give you the lamp, and I will go with you. I give you the lamp, and I will go with you. You will not take this journey alone. Well, that's reassuring. I will lead you to your true Father, who hath need of you as I have. Will you not answer the call of love with joy? Will you not answer the call of love with joy? 5. You have learned your need of healing. You have learned your need of healing. I think that's where I'm going through right now, is I'm learning my need for healing. Would you bring anything else to the sonship, recognizing your need of healing for yourself? Would you bring anything else to the sonship, recognizing your need for healing for yourself, your need of healing for yourself? For in this lies the beginning of knowledge, the foundation on which God will help you build again the thought system which you share with Him. Not one stone you place upon it, but will be blessed by Him. For you will be restoring the holy dwelling place of His Son, where He wills His Son to be and where He is. In whatever part of the mind of God's Son you restore this reality, you restore it to yourself. For you dwell in the mind of God with your brother, for God Himself did not will to be alone. Paragraph 6. To be alone is to be separated from infinity. But how can this be if infinity has no end? No one can be beyond the limitless, because what has no limits must be everywhere. There are no beginnings and no endings in God, whose universe is Himself. Can you exclude yourself from the universe or from God, who is the universe? I and my Father are one with you, for you are part of us. Do you really believe that part of God can be missing or lost to Him? And maybe we should stop right there. If you are not part of God, His will would not be unified. That's where we'll start tomorrow, paragraph 7. Let me mark that. And I just wanted to mention that, when I thought about sharing this book with my friends using this format, I thought, I'm probably not really ready to be a teacher of these things, because there's still so much that I don't understand. And I said, and I felt like it was something deep in myself that, maybe it'd be a good thing to learn if people watched me awaken, and I can share with you the very things you mean, because this healing that I'm going through with my face is like a demonstration that I have need to learn. And I thought, of course I didn't know I had that when I started this at the beginning of the year. Now here almost through the year, and I'm realizing that I have so much to learn, and maybe you can draw strength from my awakening, and it'll help you awaken. And maybe we can do this together, because what we're understanding is that's the only way. Like our lesson said yesterday. How did it say it yesterday? I choose to see my brother's sinlessness, and today forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. So we're gonna start using our forgiveness to see our brother's sinlessness, and through that it's going to awaken us. And we're going to realize that we're all one, that minds are joined. Okay, let's go take a look at our reading for today. What is the ego? The ego is idolatry, the sign of limited and separated self, born in a body, doomed to suffer and to end its life in death. It is the will that sees the will of God as enemy and takes a form in which it is denied. The ego is the, in quotes, proof that strength is weak and love is fearful, life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true. The ego is insane. In fear it stands beyond the everywhere, apart from all, in separation from the infinite. In its insanity it thinks it has become a victor over God Himself. And in its terrible autonomy it sees the will of God has been destroyed. It dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams. Its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. The Son of God is egoless. What can he know of madness and the death of God when he abides in Him? What can he know of sorrow and of suffering when he lives in eternal joy? What can he know of fear and punishment, of sin and guilt, of hatred and attack, when all there is surrounding him is everlasting peace, forever conflict-free, and undisturbed in deepest silence and tranquility? To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts. To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts. Let's know reality. Let's quit listening to the ego and its thoughts. To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts, its works, its acts, its laws, and its beliefs, its dreams, its hopes, its plans for its salvation, and the cost belief in it entails. In suffering, the price for faith in it is so immense that crucifixion of the Son of God is offered daily at its darkened shrine, and blood must flow before the altar where its sickly followers prepare to die. Yet will one lily of forgiveness change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions, to the shrine of life itself, and peace will be restored forever to the holy minds which God created as His Son, His dwelling place, His joy, His love, completely His, completely one with Him. All right, and December the 2nd, lesson 336, forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Forgiveness is the means appointed for perception's ending. Forgiveness is the means appointed for perception's ending. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed, and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. For sights and sounds at best can serve but to recall the memory that lies beyond them all. Forgiveness sweeps away distortions and opens the hidden altar to the truth. Its lilies shine into the mind and call it to return and look within, to find what it has vainly sought without. For here and only here is peace of mind restored, for this the dwelling place of God Himself. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. And the prayer says, in quiet may forgiveness wipe away my dreams of separation and of sin. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Let's do that again. In quiet may forgiveness wipe away my dreams of separation and of sin. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Your word remains unchanged within my mind. Your love is still abiding in my heart. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Thank you all so much for joining me on this journey. Until tomorrow, forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined.